Welcome to NewsBios Radio, audio home of the world's most influential journalists. For more than 25 years, NewsBios has served global corporations and PR agencies, providing them in-depth, professionally researched dossiers on the world's leading reporters, editors, columnists, anchors, and bloggers. NewsBios goes well beyond what journalists want you to know about them, specializing in uncovering important insight that you can't find in any official or authorized biographies. Do these journalists have obvious biases or conflicts of interest? Have they been the center of controversy or the subject of a lawsuit? Is their official employment history complete, or have they worked in jobs they'd rather not mention? Just how influential are they? When your reputation is at stake, you can't afford to know only what the journalists want you to know. You need to learn what NewsBios has discovered. Now, the founder and executive editor of NewsBios, Pulitzer Prize-nominated, award-winning investigative reporter, Dean Rotbart.
On today's audio, I'm going to be reviewing our recent NewsBios dossier on Thomas L. Friedman, foreign affairs columnist and op-ed contributor of the New York Times. We first created a profile of Mr. Friedman in January 2006 and have been tracking him ever since. Our most recent version of Mr. Friedman's dossier is dated February 13, 2012. It is more than 6,000 words in length and is available for immediate delivery for only $79.95. Mr. Friedman, 58, is a New York Times veteran of 3 decades. He's been the publication's foreign affairs columnist since 1995. The winner of 3 Pulitzer Prizes, he is a highly influential, acclaimed, and often polarizing writer. A hero to most Times readers and widely seen as an exponent of liberal political thought, he is a strong advocate for globalization, environmental action, and firmer financial policies. Having been a foreign correspondent in Lebanon, Israel, and elsewhere, Mr. Friedman still travels extensively. In 2012, he has already visited Egypt and Russia and written columns from those countries. He has stated, quote, "I'm a big believer in the saying, if you don't go, you don't know," close quote. As a paid public speaker, Mr. Friedman has been reported to earn as much as $50,000 per event. His late father, Harold Friedman, was vice president of a ball bearing company, United Bearing. His late mother, Margaret Friedman, served in the U.S. Navy in World War II and studied home economics at the University of Wisconsin. She was a housewife and part-time bookkeeper. Mr. Friedman's wife, Anne, comes from a wealthy family. If you or a client of yours plans to meet with Mr. Friedman, I highly recommend you review the full content of his news bio first. You'll feel much more confident in how you interact with Mr. Friedman and come to understand what likely motivates him and what topics you might want to avoid. NewsBios features more than 7,000 dossiers on influential reporters, editors, anchors, columnists, and bloggers. We can create custom news bios on journalists located anywhere in the world, often the very same day. I hope you enjoyed this News Bios preview, and I invite you to follow us on Twitter at NewsBios to learn more about other journalists worth knowing. I'm Dean Rotbart.
To obtain the full report on the journalists featured on this edition of NewsBios Radio, phone us at 866-NEWS-070. That's 866-639-7070. Be sure to select extension 2. If you are interested in consulting with Dean Rotbart on media strategy or any related research project, he can be reached at the same number on extension 7. That's NewsBios, 866-639-7070. NewsBios has veteran researchers standing by to assist you with your media-related research.